We're back with a new video. Butabis! I've been looking all over for you! I've been waiting days to say that. After the last video that I made, after the last drawing that I made, I didn't know whether or not I didn't know what I was going to do next. I had an idea, like I had a certain idea of like, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that, but I didn't have ideas for them yet. And, there's really two things that I can do. There's two things to do as far as just like straightforward, left to my own devices things to do. There's things that have an active audience, sort of like a couple of videos ago when I did something for a show called The Attack, which I never mentioned, but I was really surprised and elated by the reception that I got from that. It couldn't have turned out better. What the hell was it? So anyway, that's an example of something that has, that I can pay tribute to, that I enjoy. But either way, it's all shit that I enjoy. When left to my own devices, I'm not going to make something, like, I wouldn't make something like Harry Potter related, because I don't like Harry Potter. I don't give a shit about Harry Potter. So to make something for that's not sort of like, commissioned by another, be like, can you make this for me? For me to, then I would oblige. I'll be like, yeah, let me make the best fucking Harry Potter thing that I could make. And if not, then I'm not going to make it myself just because it has like an audience and that people like it. That's sort of pandering. That feels fraudulent to me. Anyway, so everything that I make left to my own devices, I enjoyed making. Anyway, or I enjoy it. So, but there's two avenues that I can take. There's things that are sort of like that example, like The Attack, that has a current, active, engaged audience that is imbibing what's the word I'm looking for? Like recurring content, regularly released, live, whatever it may be, content. Or there's something like this, which is a movie from 97 or 98 that I enjoy. And it's, I mean, people that are sort of like 10 years younger than me aren't going to know what the hell it is. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's a crapshoot. But, 15 years ago, everybody would know that this is A Night at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. So this, though, doesn't have like a current active audience that's going to may or may not find themselves upon it, like happen upon it or whatever, if that makes sense. So, but I still I like to do shit like this. Basically what happened was, after I finished the last one, I moved on and did the one absolutely prior to this, which was a thing for my kid. And then I thought, okay, I got to keep moving. What am I going to do? Am I going to do something that has an active audience again? And there's a couple things, like I have a list of stuff that I want to make. But I didn't know whether or not I was going to do something that had for an active audience. And I had one thing in mind, but I was like, you know what? I don't have an idea for it yet. So I just got to push forward. What do I want to do? This popped up in my head, and I said, just do it. Just don't think about it. This is your next thing you're going to do. Just sit down and do it. And, what do you call it? So, that being said, that's what this is. Thank you for watching. No, I'm just kidding. We got a long ways to go. We got 11 minutes to go. I set this one to 15 minutes so that I could just take my time. I don't have any notes. I didn't make stupid notes. The problem with notes is that I'm spontaneous with my thoughts. So when I do have notes, it's almost like you're forcing yourself to talk about and act like you're passionate about a subject. And I mean, it's not like I've been doing that where I'm, forcing myself to do anything, but I will look at some of my notes and go like, yeah, that was interesting when I was away from home and I made this note. It would have been great to riff on it in that moment because that's when I actually had the thought in my head, but, so I would just ignore it. What was my point? So I'm flying by the seat of my pants with this. Am I done talking about why I did this? Let's go into the actual, let's just watch this. All right, check this out. I already drew Chris Kattan. Will Ferrell was the hardest motherfucker that I've ever drawn. And the reason why is, let me put it into perspective. At one point, I was away from home. I was at work. I was away at work or whatever. I don't know, whatever. I was away from home, and I was obsessing about this because I couldn't figure out. I was like, why does this look not exactly correct and stuff like that. So what I did was I took an in-progress screenshot that I had taken on my phone so that I could obsess about how well or not I was doing while I'm away, and I can't do anything about it, even if I do, see flaws and stuff. I do that. I'll take a screenshot, an in-progress screenshot, so that I can keep it in my head while I'm gone. So I took an in-progress screenshot, trying to figure out what the hell the problem is. I look up on Netflix the screenshot that I took of this scene as close as I could, cropped Will Ferrell's head, and then I took the in-progress screenshot and I cropped that head as close as I could, did a little tweaking, so I basically had them both cropped at the same zoom and everything, so that I could do an A/B comparison in real time on my phone, bop, 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 back, forth, and it was eerie how dead on it was. Because all this, obviously, you can see there's never any overlay. That image is never overlaid under anything. It's never traced. It's all eyeballed, freehand, all that good stuff. So I'm going back and forth. 90% of it is boom, right on. And I remember the night before, I was obsessing about the eye to the right. And I said, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with that. So I spent most of that night just obsessing over tweaking that damn eye. Turns out, whatever that obsession that I did was, it worked because it was right on, again, 90 some odd percent on. The eye on the left was the one that was creating the problem, because if you see right here, it doesn't quite look like, this looks like some fucking 1960s guy that was in Lawrence of Arabia or some shit, not Will Ferrell. And most times when you're 90% on, you know what I mean? Even 85% on. I wouldn't say Chris Kattan's picture is 100% like the picture, but it's undeniably Chris Kattan. It's maybe, even if it's 85% accurate in proportions and all that shit, 80%, it's usually good enough to say this is absolutely recognizable, let's move on. Will Ferrell is one of these exceptions where you can be 90% on, like I was with the A/B comparison, and it's not good enough because it doesn't look like him. It doesn't have that je ne sais quoi. Oh, what you just saw there is I lightened up. A lot of times I'll go really dark with the detail. Not a lot of times, but sometimes I'll go really dark with the detail, almost giving a sculpted light look. And then I have to scale it back because it's just too much, and it's sort of, I'd rather over detail and then take away than under detail and have it look lifeless or lacking. So yeah, I'm sure 30% of this video is just me trying to tweak. See, look, it's not exactly Will Ferrell right there. I keep thinking some 1960s, mid to late 1960s movie that I had to watch in a film class in high school that just... Yeah, I think I'm out of... Now I'm just watching. I don't have any more insight about what you're watching. This was very frustrating. Yeah, this is anxiety. It's almost like right now I'm still living in this moment, and I don't realize that in the end it came out. I'm happy with the way it came out. Right there, I had to tighten up the lips a little bit more. It was a little too much of a little too much. Again, the tiniest subtleties with this face will change the entire thing. So I had to shave some of the upper lip to give it more of a a tightened, the orbicularis oris muscle or whatever. I had to make sure that it seemed a little more tight. It was a little bit more of a smirk or whatever, as opposed to a loose, comfortable smile, which is what it looked like. I ended up I ended up getting the eye as close as possible, and then I remember tweaking some of the surrounding things. I had to widen the jaw, widen the chin, narrow the forehead a little bit. Because sometimes things are spot on. It's the surrounding things that will create the illusion that it's you know, flawed. So obviously I was okay with what I had, and I moved on. I remember hating, like, drawing necklaces. Very unnatural. Speaking of unnatural, oh, this is another thing. This picture, this is very deceiving what you're seeing right here. The reference photo that I was drawing here, it was ridiculously dim. Like right now, you're like, what are you talking about? You can see all the detail. Now just imagine all this white background, all this white screen, when, you know, 80% of the screen is just white and just blaring in your face, and then there's a, like a darker nightclub picture. I just remember straining so hard during this, which also doesn't help, because then you'll look at that picture on another screen or something with like a dark background. And you're like, why can't I see this detail? It's all right there. It's like, it's so easy. But yeah, when you have everything is just like blank white. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. You know, the way it turned out, it took a lot of it took a lot of tweaking for me to be okay with it and say here. Because, like, here's the thing. I could have just kept it the way it was during midway through the video. I could have kept it the way it was and just said, like, you know, like, the context of the rest of the picture fills in that subtle detail. And you go, like, oh, yeah, this Steve whoa, I forgot the name. Butabis. Steve Butabis. You're like, you know, this is, you know, yeah, oh, yeah, that's the Roxbury. Those brothers? No, yes, yeah, I know that shit. But I was just too, like, it wasn't good enough for my standards as far as, like, you know, it could have just been what it was. Just in like, oh, yeah. I would, if you isolated Will Ferrell's fucking head and just showed somebody without the context of the suit and the necklace and the black shirt and stuff, and just showed somebody and said, like, if you showed somebody that picture and said, look at this drawing, who's this look like? I don't want the people to stare at it and go, man, that looks familiar. Oh, who the fuck is that? Shit. Oh, it's killing me. Like, it looks familiar. You know, I'm sure it looks exactly like. I don't want that to happen. I want them to look and go, that looks like Will Ferrell. Is that Will Ferrell? You know what I mean? I'd rather do that. So that's why I spent all that time fixing that. Chris Kattan wasn't, like I said, it wasn't dead on. Like, I can decipher that, but it still it looks enough that you can, you know, who else is it look like? Oh, maybe 12 minutes is the right. I dictate how long these are, and I always think, like, go 15 minutes. You could sit back. Again, most of the planning for videos and the talking part of the videos, the commentary, is just these little spurts of ideas that come when I'm not even at home. And I just go, oh, yeah, that'll be fun to talk about. Yeah, that'll be good. And then I just have this idea that I'll be totally relaxed. I'll have some snacks. I don't know why, but snacks is like a big thing with me, where I'm like, dude, I could get some snacks and just have fun and sit back and chit chat about the video. When really, all it really becomes is sort of like an anxiety attack, reviewing, you know, what took like 15 hours to achieve. And I just go through all the problems and, you know, the issues and stuff. Luckily, this is almost over. So we got that going for us. In fact, we're about to hit the end. The end screen here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're at the end screen, and this is where I say, please look at this screen. Because if you saw this and you don't know who I am, and you're looking at this and you said, that was pretty good, it was pretty good. This shit's important. And I'm at the stage where this stuff is absolutely like one of those things where it's like, you can make a difference. You personally, viewer, you can make a difference. So take a look. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.